discussing ideas, strategies, and mindsets to help online entrepreneurs become more successful. And today we're going to be discussing a huge topic, a topic that not a lot of people ever consider, even though there are plenty of entrepreneurs out there, but only a few of them really think about this, and that is your driving force. Why you're in business, the reason why you do what you do. And here's the thing. There has to be meaning in why you run your business and why you are an entrepreneur. You have to have a purpose for what you do. Having a purpose and identifying your meaning is an absolute must if you really want to succeed. If you want to be able to persist through all of the problems, the relentless issues that you're going to be dealing with as an entrepreneur, something else has to be driving you. And it can't be just about the money. We all need money. Okay, I know that you need money, you know that I need money, and we'd be lying to ourselves if we thought money wasn't important. It's important. We can't have anything in our lives without it. However, money cannot be the only motivation. We need to ask ourselves, what makes you come alive? What makes you as an individual have drive, have passion, have purpose behind your actions so that you're not just kind of going through the motions on a day-to-day basis, building a big checklist of to-dos for your day and methodically clicking them off one by one without any passion or any excitement for what you do. You need to know what makes you come alive, it makes you become passionate and feel what you're doing and feel good about what you're doing beyond the money. And so for each and every person, it's going to be different. And for each and every person, there are probably a variety of things that cause them to have meaning or that develop their why, or the reason why they're in business to begin with. And so we're just going to go through a few examples here. And often these will apply to many, many people, although it's not limited to this list. But let's talk about them. First, to be the best in the world at what you do. And not just say that, but actually think about this for a minute. How cool would that be to know that whatever vocation you've chosen, whatever business you've decided to go into, how awesome would it be to know that you are among the best in the world at what you do? Top 1%. And I'm talking any vocation you can think of. There are hundreds of thousands, probably millions of people trying to do it, and you're one of the top 1%. The reward that you get from that, from knowing that you are the best at what you do, is sometimes all people need to drive them forward. But how about this one? To lead and inspire an audience. Some people get so much meaning knowing that others are following them and looking to them for advice and looking to them for power and for confidence in their lives. Maybe you thrive on knowing that others are looking to you as a source of power in their lives. And by operating your business and operating yourself in certain ways, you can actually be that leader and that inspiration for those people. Here's another huge one: to pave a new way for your children. A lot of entrepreneurs right now are doing this exact thing. A lot of us were raised in an environment where we were taught to go to school for one particular area and then to get a job and then to focus on building your career, typical career path in that job, waiting to the time till you retire. And it doesn't matter if you like it or you don't like it, this is what you're supposed to do. And this is what we've been taught to do. And we all know that that's not no way to live your life, especially if you're miserable. And by becoming an entrepreneur, you're paving an entirely new way for your children. You're creating a new way of looking at life, a more empowering way of looking at life. And your children are having something modeled for them that was never modeled for you. And you're literally breaking a pattern. For some people, that's all they focus on, and their entire business fuel, their fuel to succeed in business comes from this need to change their ways so that their children can have a new outlook on life. Or how about becoming totally self-reliant and independent? When you don't need a boss or an employer to give you money so that you can show up somewhere and get a certified payment in your bank account. But on the opposite end, you embrace the uncertainty and you're okay with the fact that you don't know if you're going to get paid until you deliver. But you're okay with that because it develops you as a person. And now you're on the hook for becoming totally self-reliant. And now anything can happen in the world around you. And you develop the confidence over time as a business owner to know that doesn't matter what happens, I'm self-reliant, I'm independent, I'm capable of handling it myself. I don't need anybody to help me out. That is a huge driving force for a lot of people. This is another one, and it may be a little bit too much for you. It may be great for you, but how about to prove something to yourself, or even better, to prove to someone else? I've talked and I've heard of business people whose entire motivation was to prove someone wrong because they were doubted in some way or slighted by someone else, and they became indignant and angry and mad that that person would doubt them. And that fueled them way past all of these other entrepreneurs competing with them, and they became the best at what they did just because they had to prove someone wrong. They were angry that somebody doubted them. Has somebody slighted you or doubted you? Or maybe your own mind has doubted you and your capabilities to do something with your life. And you need to prove to yourself or to that other person that you are capable of doing this. That can be your driver, your motivation. How about solving a huge problem in the world or an injustice that you're seeing? Most people just complain that the government's not solving these problems. Maybe you're the kind of person that says, well, nobody's solving this problem, so I'm going to step up and solve it. And by creating this business, by being an entrepreneur, and by raising capital and becoming worth more and more money, I can now be in a position to have enough power to solve this problem. Rather than waiting for someone else to solve it, I'm going to solve it. And in order for me to solve it, I have to be successful in business. Maybe that's your driving force. Maybe that's your why. Or how about this last one? To face the fears that have held you back. A lot of people stay in a job that they hate because they're just too fearful to even think about what it might be like to have to go at it alone. And maybe you're just so sick and tired of all the negative implications that happen when you live from a position of fear that it's time to stamp on those fears and solve them once and for all. And you overcoming your fear is what drives you to success as an entrepreneur. These are just some typical examples, and I'm sure at least one or two of these are true for you, but it's really, really important that you get in touch with them. So let's talk about a couple of exercises for developing your driving force. First, brainstorm issues that bother you. Anything in this world, anything about the way you've been living your life, or like we talked about earlier, things that you see happening in the world around you, anything that really bothers you, list them down and then rank them. You might be bothered by how timid and nervous and shy you are around other people that are more aggressive, and you want to solve that problem. Or you may be bothered by some kind of injustice like we talked about earlier that's happening in the world. Brainstorm, think about all the things that bother you and rank them so that you know what charges you from the highest to the lowest level. And then from there, looking at all these different things that bother you and that you want to solve, create your driving force, your quote unquote why statement, so that as you build your business and as you face these mountains of to-dos and these new things that you have to develop and these difficult situations you're going to be facing, that you can always come back to this reason why. Why are you doing this in the first place? Why did you create this business? Why are you an entrepreneur? And if you get intimately familiar with your driving force or your quote why, then as you face these difficult situations, they become easier and easier and your proficiency grows higher and you become better at doing what it is that you want to be doing because of this statement. Create your why statement right now, brainstorm all of these things, and then as you move forward, your business will just get easier and easier for you to evolve and grow.